Oh, now I see cred.
Good. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Art of Doing It Anyway. Our little catchphrase for this call is techniques you can use to make sure the plan works even on your worst day. So we all have good days, bad days, but we want to make sure that we're still following the plan, sticking to our goals. And I strongly considered just playing the Shia LaBeouf "Just Do It" video for like the whole hour. But I won't do that. I'll actually share some info with you guys. And if you haven't watched that recently, you totally should, because it's a great video. Don't let your dreams be dreams. But the point of this call is not for us to get on here and say, like, you're busy, too bad. You're tired, too bad. You don't wanna, too bad. Like, if I'm being honest, at the core of this talk, that is what we are going to be saying, but in many more words that are hopefully helpful and thought-provoking, and they're gonna help you make real life changes instead of banging your head against the wall and wishing that you could feel more motivated, because I know we've all been there. So today we're going to talk about motivation. We're going to talk about identity and mindset, and challenges that you might face. And then we'll end with some actual methods that you can use to master the art of doing it anyway. So that's my little intro spiel for you. Before we start with part one, talking about motivation, Shalice, do you have anything that you would like to say?
Not yet.
All right. So for part one, we're going to talk about your motivation, which is kind of like the why behind the habit. So whether you realize it or not, you being here and having a goal already means that you're motivated. You had to be motivated to start a goal in the first place. So if you're sitting there right now and you're thinking that you always lose your motivation, or you're currently not motivated at all and it's disappeared from your body, then I'm sorry to tell you, but it's not true. And as long as you have a goal, you have motivation. So don't sell yourself short in that way. If you've been following the health and fitness space for a long time, you've probably heard about finding your why. I know it's big in the bodybuilding community. And that why, that is motivation. So two different kinds of motivation that, or categories, I could say, of motivation are intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. So intrinsic motivation is when you're going to be doing something for internal reasons. Think like you're doing something just because you love to do it. The action itself is the reward. And then extrinsic motivation is when you do something because it leads to a specific outcome that is outside of yourself. So doing something to get something else that you either need or want. And in recent social media times, you may have heard some people try to talk down on extrinsic motivation, or just emphasizing that you should be doing things for yourself and not for other people. But as a coach and personally, I really feel that we should be using both intrinsic and extrinsic motivators when it makes sense in your life. They both play a very important role. So there's no shame in doing something to gain like recognition outside of yourself, or to like studying to get a good grade on a test is an example of extrinsic motivation. It's like those external reward factors are just as important as the internal ones. So I'm going to give a couple examples of the different kinds of motivation that you can have. And there's actual terms for all of these different kinds, and you can like define exactly what kind of motivation it is. So if you want to read up on that, check out self-determination theory. But I'm just going to describe them tonight, and we can talk through them in plain terms. So the example that I'm going to use is I go to the gym because. So an example of some reasons that people would say, I go to the gym because I enjoy lifting weights. So that would be purely intrinsic. You do it because you enjoy it, makes you feel good, it's rewarding to you. End of story. I go to the gym because I believe maintaining good health is a requirement of being a responsible human. So that's going to the gym because health is important to you. So while that's intrinsic because you're doing it to get to something like a value that's important to you, it's doing the gymming is not the reward itself. There's still a secondary thing. So if you go to the gym to be healthy, not go to the gym for the sake of the gym. So that's the difference between those two. And I would consider both of those like leaning on the intrinsic side. Another example would be I go to the gym because I want to be able to age gracefully and be a jacked grandma like Jean and Jeanette. If you guys were at the client party. They were talking about being jacked grandmas. So we've got some jacked grandmas on our team. And that would be like, I would say a 50-50 because intrinsic, you want to be able to look and feel good as you age. And then there's extrinsic as well. You want other people to be like, dang, she's looking and feeling good as she's aging. So there's a little bit of both in that way. And then moving to like two that I would consider extrinsic, but with different sources. I go to the gym because I want to be attractive to my partner. So it's extrinsic, but it's from an outside source. So it's like you're doing it to achieve either like something that is expected or desired of you by another person. So that is something that if it's a person that you love and trust is not like, it can be a very positive thing. Doesn't have to be a negative or controlling thing. And then the last example I'll give is I go to the gym because I want to look the part for my coaching or training job. So that is purely extrinsic, you know, like I'm the one who's desiring the outcome, career gains, potentially financial gains. So that's something where if I do my job and I do what I say I'm going to do, then I should see results outside of myself. So there's a huge scale of like intrinsic versus extrinsic, and it can be a little bit of both, but there's no rules. So if you think about your goals, think about which ones you have intrinsic motivators and which ones you have extrinsic motivators for. And really just focus on finding, I would say, multiple motivators for your goals, and then prioritize intrinsic motivation whenever you're able to. And that's going to be a really, really awesome first step of solidifying like your why, is knowing exactly who you're doing it for, what you're doing it for, when you're expecting to see those results. So that's what I got to say about motivation. Shalais, over to you, if you'd like.
I have nothing to add to that.
Okay. So part two here, shift into your identity and your mindset. So this is kind of like, we want to build a habit that aligns with who you are, not just a goal, like a habit that will get you to a goal, but it also, you have to agree with it. So when you think about the current version of you and you compare it to an ideal version of you that is related to one or more of your goals, how big is that gap between who you are now and who you want to be? That's a huge question. And it's not just literally like, what time would it take to get there? How many things do you have to accomplish? Like boxes you have to check off. It's also how close, like in your heart, you feel to being that person. Like how close are you to the person that's going to accomplish all these things that you want to do? So one way, if that doesn't really click for you, another way of thinking about it is when you think about your goal and working towards your goal, eventually accomplishing it, hopefully, is it like K-pop demon hunters where you're like hiding your true self and fighting off demons and like facing challenge after challenge on your way to this distant vision of success? If you haven't seen K-pop demon hunters, you should. Or when you think about your goal, are you just simply becoming? Like, are you walking with purpose on a path that you are already supposed to be taking? Like the perceived difficulty of getting to your goal will likely reflect the actual difficulty that you encounter along the way. So that's not to say that positive thinking alone is going to make this journey or goal easy to accomplish, but it's going to help you identify any roadblocks that you have created for yourself. So, for example, if you are someone who says that you go 100% all in on a goal for like the first 4 weeks, and then you always lose motivation. Any kind of extreme statement like that, I always do this, or this always happens to me, or I never blank. That can have a real effect on how quickly and how successfully you get to the end of your goal. So if you ask yourself, like, how do you view motivation? So if you think you always lose it, is it something that you believe you have the power to change? Or does it just magically enter and leave your body at the most inconvenient times, right when you want to have, the most focus? Oh, my motivation is suddenly it's just gone. Where did it go? That's an important question to ask yourself. And then you can also imagine a successful person that you look up to, and think, like, how do you think that person becomes motivated? How does that person stay motivated? What is it that they're doing that, what in your mind, what's that magic formula that they have or that they're doing that you are not right now? So kind of like different ways to look at what you're capable of versus other people, if there's any sort of comparison happening. But yeah, I just think, what are you smiling at, Shalise?
My dog started barking, like, so I felt that I muted myself. That's all.
Oh, we didn't hear any dogs. It's okay. So yeah, asking yourself questions like these can just help expose any self-limiting ideas that could be holding you back. And they kind of act as like a mental cop-out whenever things get hard. Because then it's like, it's comfortable because this cycle. You're like, well, here we go again. This didn't work again. Like, my motivation is gone again. I guess I can just never keep it. But if you really look into that and ask yourself, like, what is the truth here? What am I missing? A lot of times it's just the belief that you can do it and supporting yourself, which sounds really lame, but
No,
I promise it. You say that's not lame?
No.
Good. I don't think it's lame either. I don't think it's lame at all. So many people need to become better cheerleaders for themselves. And then last question, just to throw out for you guys so that you have a bunch to work with. I really like this one. Asking yourself what needs to change for you internally or externally before you can reach your goal, and like really drill down on what you come up with to see what the sticking point of those changes are. So like a lot of times with especially people with families with kids, it'll be like, oh, well, I want to be a certain amount of present for my children, and I also want to have this goal for myself. Or, like being honest with the things that are important to you and prioritizing those things, and identifying, like being okay with identifying things that you can let go of, things that are less of a priority, so that you can make time to prioritize your goals. Yeah. Anything from you, Shalise? I'm gonna keep asking.
No.
All right. So part 3, we'll talk about challenges and the importance of knowing that setbacks are part of reaching the goal. The goal is not to have this super smooth journey with no bumps. It's to experience the full spectrum of what it means to learn and grow and become better than you were, yesterday, better than you were a month ago, a year ago, however long it takes you. So can we all please accept that progress is not linear? Progress is not linear.
But we want it to be. But we want it to be.
We do want it to be. And if you zoom far enough out,
that too.
if we zoom far enough out on the graph, it would look linear, going up in a good way, or down, whatever direction you're trying to go. Yeah, we got to adjust the scale there. So that is easier said than done, accepting that progress is not linear. But how you handle setbacks and challenges along the journey on your way to achieving your goals is much more indicative of how successful you will be than how hard you work when you're like on fire and everything is going your way.
Mm-hmm.
So, changing your mindset and setting goals that are aligned with your identity and using multiple forms of motivation will 100% help you reach your goals. But it doesn't mean that you're never going to face challenges of stress or negative thoughts or low motivation, mistakes. Also, like, it's okay to make mistakes along the way. Hopefully, a coach will help you make less mistakes, but mistakes nonetheless. And then just life's chaos in general always seems to catch up with all of us at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So learning to manage your stress will allow you to have tools that you can like snap yourself out of those moments where you feel like you're spiraling downward. So when you know yourself and you know what you're capable of and you know who you are and who you want to become, that's where like your power is kind of unlocked. So some more questions to ask yourself.
Can I chime in for a second, Taylor?
Yes, please.
Just like thinking back on what you were saying about like the setbacks and the mistakes and all of that, like some of those moments, like obviously in the moment really suck when they happened, but then when you do reflect back on it and go, I overcame that, I did that, I still got to this point even though this happened. Those are some of the best moments because you know that you accomplished something even though those things happen. So going along with what you said, like those are great moments because then when you can reflect back on it and go, damn it, I did that. Like I still did that. Like that's the pride are some of the best.
Yeah, 100%. You realize that you are capable of way more than you thought.
Yep.
Every single time. Yeah. Yeah. So if you sit down and you ask yourself, like, how do I perceive stress? You can perceive stress in a pretty negative way. It can be like a problem that needs to be fixed, or it can be something that has power over you and can completely alter your mood and then change the trajectory of your day. And it can be something that weighs so heavily on you that it really stops you from progressing. So if you want to switch that to a more positive view, stress is your body recognizing a challenge, which is true. It's your body being like, yo, gear up, because either you're scared, you're nervous, this is like uncharted territory, we've never been here before, a lot is on the line, it's getting ready. You know, the whole like when you're walking in Pokemon or whatever, and you're like, the stressful music starts playing and there's a Pokemon in the bushes and he comes to attack you, like a challenger approaches. That's, your body has that, and it's just your nervous system. So stress and anxiety can be considered just like extra energy that needs to be released in a healthy way. So sometimes, especially when that stress is coming like from your mind, from overthinking or catastrophizing about future events or just having negative thoughts in general, there's a lot of energy building up in there that like you might just need to get out. Like, go outside, go to the gym, go for a walk, dance, scream, sing, whatever it is, whatever way you feel like you can express yourself, use those as tools to release that stress when you recognize that it's not actually coming from any sort of outside source that's tangible. And then stress is also a reminder, potentially, that you need to prioritize time for yourself again when your schedule has gotten too busy. So if you find yourself like feeling really, really good about your goals, but you're still like, maybe your sleep is struggling, or you are like getting weird cramps and twitches all the time, and you just are like so wound up, you can work time into your schedule to help yourself relax a little bit more, and make sure that you like, part of the goal is making it there alive and not super, super stressed at the end. So ideally, you want to maintain your mental and your physical health on your way to reach whatever it is your goal is. And with most of our clients, the goal is health. So don't neglect mental health as part of that journey and schedule in that time. If you find yourself stacking your schedule, stuffing things into every hour, like I do. So,
That's like, that's
question.
him. That's him.
No,
Oh, is that
that's
you?
me.
That's him.
Yes.
Completely.
Yeah.
There's times
We
where
have the same ailment.
yeah, there's times where I'll look at him and I'm like, Craig, how come you said that you have time to do this? You do not have time to do this. So, but yeah, he's actually gotten a lot better with it though. I'm actually pretty proud of him for that. So, and when we're at the gym, he takes it out on his workouts, which is very focused now, which is cool to see. So, yeah, I can
That's
learn.
awesome. What was the last thing you said?
I said I could learn a couple of things from him.
You guys can balance each other.
Yeah.
So I kind of talked a little bit about stress coming from like inside your own mind. So you're kind of stressing yourself out, and then stress being something that comes from an outside source, like a big meeting or a deadline, something like that, where it is like it's tangible. And in both cases, if you view stress as something that's outside of yourself, that's driven by outside sources, and then you perceive yourself as like vulnerable to this essentially attack of like bad emotions and yucky feelings, then your self-efficacy takes a huge hit. So like basically your belief that you have in yourself to be able to control your behavior, your environment, and your motivation when you're working toward a goal takes a huge hit if you see stress as this insurmountable thing that you just can't possibly reduce no matter what you do. So if stress shuts you down or like sends you into a spiral when you're working towards your goals, think about how you're approaching stress. You know, what does your self-talk say when you think about relieving stress? Is it like, okay, I got this, I'm going to take time, I'm going to feel better, and then I'll be able to continue working toward my goals? Or is it like, all right, here we go again, like we'll see if this works out? All of that does matter. And at the end of the day, we shouldn't just want to become motivated or disciplined. We should aim to become resilient. So resilient to all of life's challenges and ups and downs. And imagine the confidence that you would feel if you knew that your actions were in alignment with your goals and with your identity. And you felt so sure about your actions that taking any other action would feel wrong. Like oh gosh, saying that I have goosebumps just because like, how good would that feel to know like I am doing everything that I need to be doing to get towards my goal at exactly the pace I need to be doing it, right? Just saying that out loud, like, should give you a lot more confidence, even if you don't fully believe it yet. Just giving yourself permission to like go at your own pace and do the things you need to do makes a big difference instead of criticizing yourself at every single step and feeling like you should be further along. So. All I have left for you guys is we've been like rapid fire, which I love because this next part is going to be pretty much like, Shalise, you and I can go back and forth on some of these actual methods you can use in the moment. So before we get to that, was there anything that you wanted to bring up or any thoughts you had, Shalise?
Nope. It's your show,
Okay.
Taylor.
All right, cool. Yeah, so for part 4, these are some actual methods that you can use to master the art of doing it anyway. And I'd love to hear like Shalise and Craig and Corinne, if you guys have any, then please chime in. Some of the tips and tricks for building new healthy habits that I really like and use myself are habit stacking, which we've talked a little bit about. So kind of like you can think of it as grouping together habits, like new habits with existing ones. That's one way to do it. Or putting together like a habit, and I don't know if this is traditional like habit stacking, but putting a habit together with a reward. So I tell people like, okay, do you like a certain like podcast or do you like a certain trash TV show? That's what you get to watch when you do your cardio and no other time, or like when you get your steps in. And in order to watch the show, you walk. And then something like if you brush your teeth every night, like right next to your toothbrush, put a Post-it note that reminds you to journal, or whatever your goal is. Are there any examples of habit stacking that you like to use, Shalise?
Yeah. So I found myself, and this all came about because of bodybuilding. Like I'd always, like right after dinner, like before I went to go rest or sit on the couch and just wind down for the night, it was prepare for the next day. So the second I am done with dinner, I am going to go, get my clothes out for the next day, make sure all the stuff I have, like my little drink and everything in the morning, that is all prepared out, ready to go. And, my gym bag is packed, so I can just grab it and run out the door, all those kind of things. So that is all done before I go sit down on the couch. So that when I get up off the couch, it's not like, oh shit, now I have to do this. No, I'll do it in the morning. And then I'm pissed that I didn't do it last night because I'm rushed in the morning and trying to get out the door and stressed. So it's one of those kind of things. So preparing for the next day, the night before, and always right after dinner before I chill.
Mm-hmm. Getting off the couch once you're on it is it's a no-go.
Yeah.
If you're not going straight from couch to bed, it's a disappointment.
Yes. But then also that time that is your downtime and you're kind of okay, veg out and just chill. You're not like sitting there thinking the entire time, I still have this to do, I still have this to do. You're not thinking about those things anymore because they're already done. And you can go to bed and okay, I'm good to go.
Yeah. Improving the quality of your rest time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That goes in line with another one that I had written down, which was reducing friction to get the habit done. So like sleeping in your gym clothes. If you have to get up at 3:30 in the morning to go to the gym, who cares what you sleep in? Like, putting the shoes like right next to the bed, or like having everything prepared the night before, like you were saying. Another one is getting your social circle on board with you. I love telling my clients to talk to their friends and family, which I know they're probably like, this is torture. How dare you? But I love telling them to do that because I think I have been surprised by a lot of reactions, both good and bad. You find out who your true friends and supporters are when you tell them like, hey, I want to, like, instead of us going out to dinner, can we go for a walk or a hike, or can we go to the movies and not binge out on popcorn and candy, but just enjoy, like, we can bring snacks if we want, but it's interesting to see what people are down for that and who pulls away and is like, oh, I'll just talk to you when you're done with your diet. It's like, ooh, that's not, so you only like me because I binge eat with you? Or like, what is this? So using your social circle, accountability buddies, workout buddies, and making new friends along the way. Kind of mentioned this earlier, but showing yourself a little bit of compassion and being your own biggest cheerleader. So if you are primarily hearing a lot of negative self-talk from yourself, like, hold yourself to a higher standard and be like, don't talk to you that way. We don't talk to me that way.
Gator don't play that.
I love that movie so much.
It's a good one.
Yes. Yeah. So that's so important. Like, if you can't acknowledge when you're doing your best, how are you going to get to your goal? Because the person who accomplished your goal is you at your best, right? In your mind. So like, you have to be able to be that person before you can be that person. So you have to practice allowing yourself to do that, and showing yourself compassion while still being disciplined and holding yourself to like high standards. Don't just like say, oh, I'm tired today, so I'm just not going to do anything. That doesn't help you get to your goal. You still have to you got to treat yourself like a, I don't know what age are kids when they're like, they really don't want to brush their teeth, like 7?
6, 7, yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. So you got to treat yourself like the 7-year-old who doesn't want to brush their teeth. Like, sweetie, I'm so sorry, but it's really important. Let's make this fun. Let's play some music. Let's sing a song. Let's get cinnamon flavored toothpaste instead. Like, whatever it takes, right? You would do that for your 7-year-old. Do it for yourself too. You deserve that. Okay. Ooh, I really like this one. So, this one is relevant for client check-ins. So Shalay, you'll probably like this one. When you are making plans, actually plan the details. Don't just say like, oh man, I have to get back on track, or I'm going to do better next week. I want the specifics. Tell me like, I got to work late 3 times this week and I want to be on time every single day. So I'm going to set my alarm like an hour before I normally would. And I'm going to get up. And if I don't get up, like I'm going to, I don't know, do something. Like tell me all the details of what you're going to do. If you are like, if you're saying that you want to hit your macros and you haven't been meal prepping, like say, yeah, on Sunday, after I wake up and after I walk the dog, I'm going to prep meals and then I'm going to take my kids to their soccer game. So like everything is planned out. There's no excuses to say, oh, well, it just, I fell off and I didn't get on track this week, because you didn't make any plans to get on track. Like you got to take yourself seriously when you say that you're going to do those things. And like the number of check-ins that I've received where it does say like, I'm going to do better next week. I always text them and I'm like, hey, what does that mean? What's going to be better? How are you going to be better? Why?
Yeah, on my check-ins, there's a behavior goal. And so they have a behavior goal every week. And sometimes I'll list like 3 and I said, wait, let's just focus on 1 for right now. Like, yeah, those other things do need maybe attention, but let's focus on the one that you can accomplish this week. Let's work on that one, the one that's going to cause or help progress you the most to your goal. So there's always been a behavior goal there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, and that's what I tell them all the time too. What are you going to actually do? Because like some people, right, sleep. Okay, but how? Like, what are you actually going to do to help yourself sleep?
Yeah.
Like explain the process.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? How you're going to approach that? Yeah. Completely.
Mm-hmm. Because if you don't say it out loud, it's so easy to just wing it and then nothing changes. Because you're stuck in your routine, right? We all are just comfortable with what we do.
Right.
So if Shalay all of a sudden got comfortable with going and sitting on the couch after dinner and not prepping for the next day, there'd probably be a week or so that would fly by and she'd be like, I didn't prep a single day this morning. Just like, oh, that was convenient. I'm calling you out, Shalay. I don't know if that's ever happened, but probably not.
Oh, it happens.
Yeah. Another one on my list is breaking negative thought patterns whenever you recognize them, and learning to question them and not just accept them as part of your reality. So, kind of the video that I posted teasing this call where I was talking about how I was sitting on the couch and I was dreading making chili.
Yeah.
I've made that chili recipe like a lot, like over 50 times probably. I don't even need to look at the recipe. I just make it, and does it take like 40 minutes to get it in the slow cooker? Yeah, but I enjoy cooking. I love chopping stuff and it's a good time. I was so convinced that it was going to suck. I just kept telling myself like, dude, this is going to suck. I just want to lay on the couch. This is so much more comfortable. Like once I make the chili, I'm going to have to do all these dishes and I'm going to have to clean up. And then, and then what though? And then what? I'm going to have an amazing like home cooked meal that lasts me. I just ate it for lunch today. Like it lasts me 5 days for this meal prep in 40 minutes, 8 minutes a day. I got 8 minutes. Like talk yourself out of the hole that you talked yourself into. You are fully capable of doing that. And like that's also being your own cheerleader. Like, come on, get up. You're better than this. Like, don't be silly. So you don't need to like turn off the negative thoughts, but just change the way that you react to them. Interrupt them somehow, whatever that means to you. And the last one that I have is building in a reward system that works for you. This is so different for every single person. It's super individual. So whatever your reward system is, for some people, it's like PRs at the gym. They love being strong. They love increasing the number of reps. For other people, it's like having, I've talked about this before, but there's like a habit wheel where it's a circle and you like get to check everything off. Like for some people, it's actually checking a box off on a piece of paper that you did something that day. For others, it's like recognition from their partner. So if, you know, talk to your partner. If you love when they say like, oh my gosh, you know, it's so awesome that you went to the gym, like have them notice things, have them help you stay motivated. Or even if they like go on walks with you and that's something that helps you, that like you see that as a reward because it's quality time with them. A reward can be anything that makes you feel good and accomplished. And that's one way to kind of like hijack any goal into being intrinsically motivating. Is you just find a way to add a reward that kind of like serves that intrinsic motivation. So those are some methods that I have. I don't know if Damien will be able to come on to share some of his, but Shalise, do you have any that you want to add to that list?
Sorry, I was just getting a text from him about it.
Oh.
I was just trying to think of things that I've had clients do in the past. And like, I've had people do, like, honestly, like stickers on their calendar. Like, yes, I accomplished this today. I accomplished that today. Or, you know, green, red, pink check marks or something for, you know, cardio, nutrition was on point and they did their workout, like all those kind of things. So I've had people do that. And that was things that they said that they wanted to do. Am I that kind of person? No, because that's more things on my plate for me to do. And I'm like, no, I'm good. But yeah, that's the only, I mean, I can't think of anything else besides that.
There are some like workout programs where that's kind of built in, or like apps where like Trainerize, I know like some coaches use Trainerize and they have little awards in there where it says like 500 workouts completed or something. Like the app that I use, my PT Hub, that one has it'll give you like at the end of your workout, it'll tell you like, oh, new PR or like max volume ever lifted on this lift or something like that. So technology can help with that if you use it. Even like MyFitnessPal will say this food has a lot of protein. You're like, thanks.
Yeah.
But then it'll also tell you this food has a lot of saturated fat. And you're like, don't tell me that.
No,
How dare you?
It's like you've gone way over your sodium goal for today.
Yeah. Like this food has a lot of sugar in it. And you're like, I know, it's apples. But yeah. Really, I just like, if there's any takeaway from this call, I just want people to feel like they're in control of their goals. And it's not like the world is against you. Like you can use the world to your advantage. So like everything around you can be something that can help you reach your goal if you think about it that way. And this is just for normal goals, regular people. You know, we're all just out here trying to better ourselves and to feel fulfilled and accomplished. So I'm not saying that, like I said before, it's not like positive thinking is going to make your problems go away. Like if you have any medical conditions or restrictions, this is not going to fix that, but it doesn't hurt to, like, there are studies that talk about how much your mindset matters with all types of health and healing and progress, regardless of the challenges that you're facing. So if you don't see your challenges as these things that are debilitating and you see them as ways that you can improve, as opportunities to get better and to build a better support system around you, that is like that's the good stuff right there.
Mhm.
So
Your mindset is everything.
mhm.
I mean, that's it. If you don't have the mindset to overcome and adapt and cut out all the white noise and handle your shit, then then you're looking at putting up sticky notes and stickers or whatever to try to motivate yourself. But if you have the right mindset, and I guess or I have a hard time seeing people that don't, and it's probably because of my background, that it's been ingrained into me and it's not a big deal. But for so many other people, I struggle sometimes watching them because they struggle, and it's like, just fucking do it. Like, what's your problem?
And that's kind
Use
of
my
like what this
language.
call
I
is
know this is
about.
being recorded.
No, that's fine. It's real though, right? Like that's a very real frustration, especially if there is somebody in your life that you feel like you're trying to help and you feel like they're not receiving that advice or they're not trying. There always is something that is blocking them from doing that. And a lot of times, like that's why I listed so many questions on this call, is like, if you can find what it is, that why of like, why don't you just do it? If you can find that why, and you can either improve it or eliminate it completely, then like nothing's going to stop you anymore. You just will. So
yeah, I'm kind of like with Craig. Like I struggle a lot with some clients that have that victim mindset. And I'm like, stop. Like, you're not a victim in this case. Like, there's so many things you can do along the way to get out of this place that you are. Like, you're not a victim. Change the mindset, change your mentality, change your words. That's a big one right there. Like, quit talking shit on yourself. Quit saying, I can't. And how about saying, I am going to try until this happens, right? I may not be able to do this yet. Like, get out of that fixed mindset and find that growth mindset all the time. I used to tell my students that all the time, like, yeah, you can. And like, I personally don't have the patience for that victim mentality. And I have to step back a lot of times as a coach and go, okay, like, how do I word this properly to not be an asshole to this client right now?
Get down, baby. You're being a good girl.
yeah, I would say that like those are the moments that I enjoy the most, because I love digging into that with people. And like, doesn't mean that I can help, but if I can plant a seed, if I can start that process, that thought process, and get them to start like being a little bit more aware of their surroundings and the people that they're hanging out with, the way that they're talking to themselves. It's all just awareness, and what you're willing to like tune into and accept as part of your reality. That like resistance of accepting, like, oh, like I have a job that I hate. Well, how much are you feeding into the fact that you hate your job? How much are you like coming home and then like basically essentially like marinating in this horrible work environment after the fact and not like letting go and leaving it there? So like I totally lost my train of thought, but there's a lot of like thought experiments that you can do and things that you can start people thinking about that will just get them to like change the way that they view their world.
Right. And along before we go, the social part of it also, like your friends and your family members and stuff, I struggled a lot with that before. I just kind of had to, I'm still talk with them and everything, but I had to put a separation, because it was always like, okay, let's go out and let's go drink, or let's go out and go and do this. And at that point I was just like, that's not helping me get to my goal or help with my determination or my motivation. And it hurt inside, but you have to get over that part of it and just say, okay, what is this really helping you? So
yeah. And there's also no problem. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Taylor. Sorry.
I was just gonna say there's no problem in like pausing a friendship either,
Yep.
to where you just slightly distance yourself. You know, you don't have to cut people out of your life. You can totally do that. Like,
Right.
love that. But also,
Right.
you can just create a little bit of distance between yourself, and then come back once you're more secure and like ready and strong in like these habits that you've built up, that you don't need the support of those people, and you can be yourself and be this new version of you without
Exactly.
having to worry about like, oh no, am I gonna like cave? So
Yep.
welcome, Damien.
What up, peeps? Long time no
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. We're pretty much done with the talk, but we were just going over like some methods that we or our clients use to I'd say like snap themselves out of it when they're feeling bad or they don't want to do it. Kind of just really the art of doing it anyway, right?
Yeah, I don't know if you touched base on this, so if you did, just tell me to shut up. There's a part of the brain that like controls when like you don't want to do something, right? So like say something's hard and your brain's just like that little voice in the back of your head's like, fuck this, I don't want to do it, just stop, right? Whether it's a workout or it's a diet or whatever it is. And I found like people who do work out and they push themselves and they like overcome those things, that part of the brain gets larger. So like that region lights up more and more every time that you overcome something like that. And so there is like real science in the fact that like the more you continue to push and get through those things, the easier it becomes. And I think that's like a really undervalued thing is, everyone always says like, oh, it just gets easier, just keep doing it. And it's like, no, it really does, right? Like your brain starts to develop. It becomes easier and easier every time. Now that becomes the norm, and you don't even have that voice in the back of your head saying, don't do it anymore. Not saying everyone's perfect, but like it is proven that like that's a reality. And I think, for a long time, people just let that voice get the better of them and prevent them from doing something, or they can only take it for so long. And the more you challenge yourself and push through those things, it's just going to better you. And I think it translates into every aspect of life. It's like, then it becomes easier to have those tough conversations at work with people and with your spouse and all these things by even just, making yourself go to the gym and eat right. Like it helps in all other facets. So it's not just a discipline thing. It's just a development of the brain, right? To handle the situation better.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Well, I think to go off of that, to kind of what he was saying again, and I'm relating this to bodybuilding, so I apologize for that. But I think like your first prep is always the hardest because you don't know what you don't know, but you've gone through it, you've done it, and it's hard. And every single prep after that gets easier and easier and easier because you know what to expect. You've already done it. You've challenged yourself. Your body's gone through it. You physically have done it. And after that, every single time those challenges are just a little bit easier because you've already, like Damien said, you've developed that part where like, okay, I'm stronger. You prove to yourself you're capable of doing it. But then, I don't know, maybe there is something to that with what Damien was saying. Like you've grown that part of your brain too that said like, I can do these hard things and I'm good. I know what it takes now,
Yeah, 100%. I think, listening to when I first popped in, like going out with friends, that's something that I didn't balance really well when I first got into whole bodybuilding and like dieting and all that kind of stuff. I felt like I had to cut out everyone in order to achieve my goals. I couldn't spend time with friends and do these things because I knew they wanted to drink and do quote unquote fun stuff. And I just became the dude that like hung out that didn't drink. Like you still go out to the bars and hang out with your friends and chat with them. Just get a Diet Coke. Like,
Yep.
You can still socialize and build that quality time with them and not drink's just a excuse to get people together. You can drink water, you can drink Diet Coke. Like it doesn't have to be something that you isolate away from because you're afraid that if you don't drink, you're not going to be accepted. And if that is the case with your friends, then you shouldn't be friends with them.
right?
Mhm. If you guys want to read more about kind of like behavior change and what Damien was talking about, neuroplasticity is a good term to Google and look up, because it's just talking about your brain's ability to like create new connections and adapt no matter what. So like if you think that your abilities and your skills are like fixed, that's not the case. Like your brain is built to be able to adapt to all of the input that you're giving it and all of the things that you're doing. So just like a kid, we haven't changed. Our brains haven't changed that much.
Yeah, my therapist always tells me it's like forming a dirt track, right? Like you find a dirt road and you know there's tire marks and it seems like the obvious path to take, and over the years you develop that track of like, okay, when this thing pops up, this is how I'm going to handle it. It's not to say that you can't form a new track somewhere else. It's just you want to tend to gravitate towards those tracks already developed. So it is hard and it takes time, but you can make those new tracks. You make that new path. Just takes conscious effort to build that new like neural pathway essentially.
Mm-hmm. I love that visual.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, we got like 7 minutes left, so I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to share or go over, or any questions or anything. No.
No,
Okay.
I think just setting goals is easiest path, right, to just build short-term successes. Just set some short-term goals and just check them off. It makes it easier and easier. But
Awesome.
I'm also not doing something illegal and driving and FaceTiming you guys, so don't worry about it.
We're gonna report
Boone's the
you.
one driving. Boone's the one driving. I'm just in the passenger seat. So
Yes,
Right.
of course.
Also not illegal.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so
Awesome.
much for joining, for
Thank
listening to
you.
my soapbox, for chiming in with your thoughts and your experiences. As always, I need to check to see what the topic is next week, because little one-track mind here. But next week is called From Resolution to Reality: How to Keep Showing Up When the New Year's Hype is Gone. So that's like very similar to what we talked about today, but hopefully we'll have some examples of like actual resolutions that we can go through and just kind of catch up and chat.
Perfect. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys doing this. It's awesome.
Oh, yay. I'm so
Yeah.
glad.
I mean, participating too. Yes, always feel free to chime in, you guys. Seriously.
Okay. Thank you so much. You guys have a great night, okay?
You too.
Yeah, you as well.
all right,
Bye.
you too.
Great job, Taylor.